What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I just quickly want to share something with you. I got a LinkedIn email from an old friend. Now, I've had LinkedIn, about 7, 8 years. It serves me no purpose. I'm not, you know, I think I got LinkedIn to apply for an investigator job in Birmingham a long time ago. But the stuff I get from LinkedIn now primarily is, do you know this person? Um, are you interested in this or that? Don't really pay attention to it. But last night I got that email, and it was from an old friend that I used to work with at UAB. And she texted me. Well, not text me. She's kept sending emails, and I'm like, this is getting a little bit redundant. Sending emails back and forth on LinkedIn, but I understand. I think she's in a long-term relationship, and that's kind of a way to text a friend, communicate with a friend, and it won't be overly suspicious. It's just email. But she kept emailing me back and forth. How you doing, catching up, and so I was getting a little bit redundant. But then she hit me with something on one of the emails that I'm like, where is this going? So we used to be real good friends, UAB, for a long, long time. Even when I left UAB, we were still tight. I kept up with the kids. She actually had hit me up one time. Her daughter was want to go into law enforcement, go into the police academy, and wanted to give her some heads up on some things. When it comes to the academy. And but last night she basically said that she asked me a question after we caught up, and she was basically asking her, I'm gonna say fiance, even though it's long term friends with benefits type thing. She was like, she hasn't been interested in sex for a long, long time. I think she's late 40s, early 50s, and she was like, she thinks her man is, going behind the back, sneaking out, doing other things. And I asked her, was it because y'all don't have sex? I mean, it's none of my business, but you brought it up because y'all don't have sex. Um, are you not giving your all? When you're intimate? And she basically said, no, 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 and no. And it got me to thinking because we communicated, we sent emails back and forth about 2 or 3 more times after that, and it got me to thinking because this is just not her. This is what probably 90% of the women I've known in the past and I know to the present. When they get to be a certain age, do they just lose it for sex? I mean, wives have sex with their husbands at a later age just to please their husbands, not to please themselves. And I've never really asked too many women this. I've just, I don't know, from afar assumed or heard from one source and kind of pinned it to other sources or other women. But when women get to a certain point, and I'm thinking, okay, you have 2 or 3 kids, you go through menopause. Is it after menopause that a woman just flat out loses it for sex? Because I do know women that are older that emotionally they love the kiss, they love the cuddle, they love the intimacy. But when it comes to sex, they can care less. I've known beautiful older women, women that was my mom's age when I was a kid. Beautiful women, husbands died, got divorced or whatever. Now, you don't know what they did in their own personal life. You're not there every second of their life, but they just showed no interest in being with a man. And then you have this one woman, she was well into her 60s, going in her 70s, and she wanted a man. But was it for sexual purposes, or she just needed that man? I think she just needed somebody, because you do have those women who just need somebody. But I don't know. I guess I'm asking a question. When a woman gets to a certain age, well, when women gets to a certain age, do they just lose it for sex? Is it menopause? Is it something within that, your clit don't itch anymore? Your nipples don't get hard anymore? That's hard for me to fathom, because I can remember when I was 6 years old and my little tallywhacker pointed up, and it scared me, because that was my first hard on that I knew of, and it haven't stopped since. Matter of fact, it's probably worse now. You know, I've heard as people get older, the sex drive, go down, and that's probably true. But not to have sex at all, not to even want it, that's crazy to me. That's really crazy. And I'm not finna go up to just ask any random woman, "Hey, do you still enjoy having sex?" I'm not finna do that. We in a different day and time. Well, probably I wouldn't have done that 20 years ago. To be honest with you, you don't just randomly talk to people about intimacy. Even people people you work with, you just don't do that. That's private. But I am curious. I am curious. I wish I could get on one of AD's panels, and this discussion comes up. Even though he have younger women on his panels, um, I do think that'll be a good question, because I see women today, mid range, 30s, 40s, 50s, and some older ones, 60s and 70s, and they just don't seem interested in intimacy, you know, and that's crazy to me. Now, I know that's not all women, but the overwhelming majority that I come in contact with, they just don't seem interested, and that's crazy to me. Um, I know as men, when I was growing up, you would see the older gentlemen in the community, doing things they weren't supposed to do, going places they weren't supposed to go. So, and there was mainly with younger women who I guess were still interested in that type of thing, and that was unfortunate. But my point to that is, I don't think men lose it, and until they get old. Yeah, I pray to God I don't lose it until I die. That's something that I hope you know those instruments still work, because I know they down working just fine right now. I'm gonna end it with this. I do know this for a fact. I've lived through it, been there, done that. The younger girls that you deal with, that we dealt with when we were in high school, we call them fast or hot because they were in heat. So I experienced young girls in high school that were in heat in college. Now, I never dealt with any of them because I didn't have sex in high school or college, but I was a grown ass man before I even did anything. But I saw, I was around the girls who were in heat, and in college that was in heat. Even, in my adult life, you ran into women who were just in heat. And it's different than women who just got to have a man. It's way different. They act different, and they just different. And you can notice that as a man. Just like, hell, you throw a dog in heat in a pen with a male dog, nature gonna take its course. That plain simple, nature's gonna take its course. But after a certain point, that female changes, and it's in my opinion that the nature of the female after a certain point, they can kill us if they get intimate or not. But anyway, that just some interesting crap that happened last night, and I just wanted to share it. And if anybody got any answers for me, holler at me. Because I am curious. But you guys stay blessed. I appreciate you. I love you. And as always, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, you guys stay blessed. And I will see you next time.